miracle is something that is supernatural, that there is no natural explanation for. And I've heard of these things happening in churches like in the, I'm not sure what they call it, the Bethel Church, House of Bethel? I should know that. A church in California where Bill Johnson is the pastor, they frequently have reports of miracles occurring. People with lifelong conditions that disappear overnight. Steel pins, holding their bones together that disappear, and the pain and the awkwardness that was there because the pin is now gone, and there is no evidence of even the pin being present. I mean, these things happen all the time. What I don't understand is why these things aren't published more, because if they're true, I would think this would be a perfect opportunity to publish these things. So I'm continuing to look at that. And maybe it's something I could do. Because if these things truly are happening, I think it would help people to believe in Jesus, to see the documentation and not just hear these stories. But when you check them out, and check out YouTube, Bill Johnson, YouTube, there's a lot of stuff in there. And when you hear people's stories, it's like they don't appear to be like fakes, like they got set up to say things. I mean, these people seem really genuine to me, and I don't question the power of God, so I don't, it's not that I don't think that, I mean, I do think that there are cases where, fakery, frauds exist. Like I said earlier, people manipulating others to get their money and reporting healings and miracles that never occurred. And I understand all of that, because there's always going to be a counterfeit of the true thing. And that's what I'm saying. The true thing of miracles does exist. And I just don't understand why that's not more well known than it is. Because if it's happening at such a rate, which apparently it is, then somebody needs to be publishing this. And maybe
Amen.
That's something I could do. But anyhow, we were talking about, we started all of this about God being angry. And I was just trying to say that I think we lose sight of our own growth and our own potentialities when we limit God to this idea of being amorphous spirit rather than creator, father, in whose likeness we've been formed. Therefore, laughing, touching, seeing, hearing, responding, creating, changing is what we do, because that's what he does. And when I say he, I'm saying he. Jesus referred to God as Father. I recognize the idea of perfect masculinity and femininity being one in the Spirit of God. So when I say he, I don't mean to be upsetting anyone. I'm just, all arrows seem to be pointing to he. He with maximal feminine qualities. Because God cannot be anything but perfection. perfection. Now you could say that a lot of our ideas of what's masculine and feminine are questionable. I would certainly agree with that. But at the same time, because I think the supernatural realm is highly reflective of the physical, natural realm, then life being reproduced in the joining of male and female, I think, is too fundamental not to be also an element of divinity.
Absolutely.
So that's that. So yes, God gets angry if we misbehave because he loves us. He wants to be with us. A parent spends all their time training a child in the way that they should go. And then as the child is growing older and seeks to establish individuality and independence, they break from some of the ways in which they were trained, and that saddens and potentially angers the parent who's done so much to help that child be on, the right road, as Buddhists would call it, right action, right thinking, right behavior, the right road. So I just think it's no more than that. And I also think that some of us may be more aware of the anger or displeasure of God because we've been communicative with God. And that's not to mean that we who have this knowledge are special, and that those who don't have this knowledge are not special. It just means if you spend time with someone, you get to know them.
Oh, yeah.
And as often as I've been incorrect in my actions and in my beliefs, I believe that, these last 35 years as a Christian haven't been a total waste, because I've learned to be strong. I've learned how to stay afloat. I've learned how to maintain enough objectivity not to get manipulated and sucked in by either my emotions or someone else's emotions or some passing perspective. I've learned to align myself with Jesus in a way that I believe pleases him. And if he's pleased, then I am in a better position to hear some secrets, hear some subtle nuances, to hear a whisper, to observe his movement and his action. Whereas if I am selfish and distracted and in a sort of hedonistic mode, then just by definition I'm not tuned in to the movement of the Spirit.